Gone and not quite forgotten. Robert Saleh catching some strays out in San Fran from one Jets drive. I'm Glenn Norton with Jet Nation Radio and JetNation.com. Be sure to log into JetNation.com where you can register and become a part of what is the most active Jets message board on the web. So I didn't think I was going to mention this because it's one thing. A few days ago, Elijah Vera Tucker makes a comment about Robert Saleh, and then Aaron Glenn makes what I believe was an even more damning comment about Robert Saleh. And then former Jets GM Mike Tannenbaum comes out and makes probably the most damning statement about Robert Saleh and his time in New York with the Jets. Now, listen, I was consistently critical of Saleh's time with the Jets. I felt like he was too soft on the team. There was no accountability. You saw guys getting attaboys after penalties. Saleh would openly say he didn't believe in yelling at players out on the sidelines. I'm not here to say he has to go berserk and try to humiliate guys, but there's nothing wrong with showing a little bit of emotion and getting in someone's face and try to encourage them to stop making mistakes, especially when they are repeated mistakes. That just wasn't something Robert Saleh did. So Elijah Vera Tucker the other day, meeting with the press, was asked about his time with the Jets, and he's got 1 year left on his deal, and will he be back? And Vera Tucker says, I'd like to be back here, and especially with what we're seeing with Aaron Glenn, because one thing he's doing, he's holding guys accountable. And that's something that I, as a player, haven't seen much of in my time here. I mean, there's not really a more damning thing a player can say about a coach than to announce publicly, yeah, that guy didn't hold anyone accountable. And listen, this was an obvious thing. I'm an observer 10,000 miles away on the other side of the world. I can see from the way Robert Saleh engages with his players on the sidelines. I consistently said there was no accountability with his team. So now you have Elijah Vera Tucker coming out saying, Aaron Glenn's holding us accountable, and I've never really seen that before. So great to hear that it's finally happening because the Jets have been without accountability for quite some time now. And then you get Aaron Glenn himself coming out a couple days ago, asked about the play of former first round pick Will McDonald and some of the things he's doing out there. And hey, Aaron, why we're seeing Will McDonald? He's penetrating more, he's setting the edge more. What's the difference in his game? Aaron Glenn just says it's the coaching. You just said it, and I'm paraphrasing Aaron Glenn here. He said you just said it. He's doing things he didn't do before. It's coaching. That's all it is. Aaron Glenn might be a rookie coach, but he's not a dummy. He's been around for a little while. He knows how those comments will be interpreted. People are going to hear that and go, oh, like Aaron Glenn just let us know that the new staff is actually coaching guys up, whereas the previous group didn't. And this is one of the reasons I think there are guys on this team, at least I'm hopeful, there are guys on this team who we have not seen the best of yet. The first guy that comes to mind is Malachi Corley. Like, what kind of coaching, if any, were these guys getting to develop their game? We talked about Corley's lack of development throughout the season. We talked about it this offseason, and it was just a few weeks ago that we learned Jets coaches were upset about him being drafted because they knew he was going to need to be developed. They just wanted ready-made guys. We knew Corley during the draft process, during the pre-draft process, when we talked about him possibly going to the Jets, that he was a guy that was going to need some time to develop. His route tree wasn't complete, but he was a guy who could do some things as a receiver. And we figured, okay, well, the Jets will have him do that stuff, and they'll develop the rest of his game. They didn't either. They didn't let him do the things he did well. And don't talk to me about the fumble. I get it. It was stupid. For God's sakes, you don't end a guy's career over a stupid mistake, no matter how monumentally stupid it was, because it was exactly that. Then you get Mike Tannenbaum, former Jets GM. He comes out and he's talking about Aaron Glenn, what he's going to bring to New York. And he says Aaron Glenn is going to be Dan Campbell East because the coaching the Jets had last year was so bad that this is going to be an upgrade. Whether it's the penalties, the discipline, the time management, all these things. You expect all of these things to get better. I've said many times over, people have been pissed off with me this offseason because I've said many times over, this is a team that I could see winning 4-6 games. But I've also said that they have the talent to be an 8 or 9 win team. I don't know what to expect from a very, very, very inexperienced coaching staff. If they hit the ground running and they prove that they're ready for these jobs across the board, whether it's Charles London, who's never developed a quarterback, or Chris Banjo, who's never run a special teams unit on his own and hasn't been doing the job for a very long time, or rookie coach Aaron Glenn. Like, if all of these guys don't miss a beat, then this team could be pretty good, especially we've talked about the schedule. This is not a very good schedule, but this is a team with a very talented offensive line. This is a team with I would say, very good secondary. I may have more faith in Andre Cisco than most, but I think he's going to be a phenomenal addition to the back end of that defense. The running backs we've talked about, plenty of horsepower there. There are questions at wide receiver. There's no denying that. But if you figure Mason Taylor gets involved and develops his game, looking as I said at that schedule, yeah, is there a path to 8 or 9 wins? Certainly. But I'm not just going to sit here and drink the Kool Aid and assume every single guy is going to be exactly what the Jets need in every spot with all the inexperience they have. Go down and look at that coaching staff, go up and down their bios. You're going to see a lot of guys who either first time coaches or guys who are coaching positions they've never coached before. So to me, the odds of everyone working out year one are so slim, I can't bring myself to say, yeah, this team is going to hit its full potential and win 8, 9 games this year. I can't. Do they have the talent to do that? Absolutely. The coaching, too many questions for me to jump on board with that right now. But as you know, you hear it from AVT, you hear it from Aaron Glenn, you hear it from Mike Tannenbaum. Again, nothing we didn't know if we were paying attention, but hearing insiders, people who were in the building, people who know people in the league, coming out and saying this staff should be better than the previous one. Again, that's not exactly a great leap, but to have players, coaches openly coming out saying there was no discipline, there was no coaching, time management was an issue, penalties were an issue, a lot to improve on. This might be the staff that does it. So I'm a little bit surprised to hear these guys come out and say it, but I'm not surprised that all of this stuff is true.